quorum. We have 3 physically present.
Blessing, is that the case, or?
If you want to recommend approval to the plan commission, you could.
Okay.
Yeah, I would move that we recommend approval to the planning commission.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, we love it. It's gonna be
Cool.
beautiful, beautiful addition to the artwork in Middleton.
Very, very exciting. Have him bring a couple as long as he's gonna be driving over.
Yeah. See if he's got extra.
Just throw
Yeah.
you.
Is it buy one, get one?
Right?
Not sure, but I can ask.
All right, shall we move on to number 3 then? And that is the RFQ for the sculpture at the trailhead, which is our 0.5% for art project for this year. Meg, are you working on that? Do you want to give an update?
I have not been, I think Abby has.
Oh, Abby has the info.
Well, I had reached out a couple of times to the DOT. We were trying to get there. Just make sure we were on solid footing to install in that location, because it is right of way that they still own and partially control. And I finally got advice from the engineer over there, planning supervisor, and he said that there is a potential that the DOT would allow the request, but it would need to go through their real estate surplus land process and require approval from every section within WISDOT Southwest region. And then he said that the first way to review the parcel would be as excess right of way and sell or lease the parcel to the city, which I ran that idea by our public works director, and he was not supportive of that. For one, he felt like, why would we want to buy it? Because, you know, we are just requesting the use of a very small piece of it. And also that process could take a long time. He favored the second way, which was to seek a revocable occupancy permit that would allow the installation to occur with the knowledge that if WISDOT needed the property, then they would remove the installation and we would not be compensated. We would have to place it somewhere else that would be at our cost. I am pretty skittish based on this because just working with the DOT quite a bit on other items, I feel like this could take a long time.
How big is their piece?
The piece of land.
Yeah,
So the right of way line, you can kind of see it here, it's in yellow.
so it's fully within the DOT's right of way?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. Now I sent this over to our public lands director, and she said that she still supports the project either in this location, or if we were to decide to move it down into the Conservancy Creek corridor path off the right of way, she would also be supportive of locating it there. I know that that doesn't really serve the trailhead function that the committee was excited about, is like demarcating this entryway. It wouldn't really serve that function, so it would kind of be different. It would be, you know, it would be more an amenity once you're down into the trail.
So what was the second option, Abby? They can order us to vacate the sculpture at any given time?
Yeah, so the second option is we would need to get approval from all of the WISDOT supervisors, which could take some time, but I mean, at this point, like, we have the winter, you know, because we're not gonna be able to install it this year. But then they would want to do that through a revocable occupancy permit, so they would allow us to occupy the space with the sculpture. If they needed the right of way for any reason, they would take it out. I think that they would be kind and gentle to the sculpture, but they would not be paying for the cost to reinstall it.
And so. I know that we wanted it to be at the trailhead, but what would the other location options be if we were to put it elsewhere? In that area?
I don't think it
Um,
would be visible from the road, right, Abby?
Yeah, I don't think it would. I mean, I think we're talking like down in the creek corridor. So
So
like,
was it visible from the street?
no, I don't think so. I mean, we could look at other options that are within TIF District 5. If you wanna go, kind of go back to the drawing board and look at options that are both in TIF District 5 and under city control and not involving the DOT.
I think I would advocate for that.
Yeah, do we
Um,
have, like, can you think of any other spots off the top of your head that could work?
Well, Lakeview Park,
Hmm.
I know we had talked about that other part of Lakeview Park, which is heavily used and is a challenge because there's a lot of competing interests for the space.
Is
But
there water issues or something too?
there's a high groundwater table there. So that's why like a lot of times when you walk around Lakeview, there's mucky soil. Another idea would be the Branch Street side of park.
Right.
There's that little
For the-
pathway. I'm not sure how much space there is. There's a cemetery there and there's a school, so it's a little bit busier, but I'm pretty sure that that is part of the parcel that's in, I'm gonna steal that TIF Andrew, because I think it's the best.
Oh.
It's the most blown up option to look at. And this is the current TIF map. So. Whoa, only thing is our Zoom friends can't see it. But. So yeah, it looks like the school is here on Branch Street and the cemetery is fully in TIF District 5. So I would think that if we wanted to locate something on Branch, that would be an option. I'm not sure how y'all feel about that. The other idea would be trying to seek approval to get it at the main Conservancy entrance. The only hesitation that I would have with that is that the Century Avenue Bridge here is getting replaced probably in 2026, maybe 2027. And we're trying to underground the trail as part of that, so it's possible that the bridge would be elevated, so I think we would need to keep it like far enough off the area that's getting reconfigured that it wouldn't interfere with that. And then the other idea would be putting it, I mean, just putting it at the Conservancy entrance. Let's see what that looks like from.
I thought the Conservancy didn't want us to put anything on the Conservancy property.
The Friends of Pheasant Branch, I guess, didn't want it.
So they, my recollection, and we could go back and look at the correspondence. My recollection is that we wrote to, I believe that it was Hans Hilbert, who is formerly on the city council.
Mhm.
And he said that he did not view his role as part of the Friends of Pheasant Branch involving public art or something like that. It was like, it wasn't, he didn't say like, absolutely not, I wouldn't want to allow that. It was more like, he didn't really view that as part of his role, if I'm remembering correctly.
But I thought Meg had some correspondence also with the Friends.
I think that they said that they would not support artwork being in the Pheasant Branch Conservancy because the point of the Friends is to conserve the area, the natural beauty of it, and that the artwork itself should be just nature, you know, like. I could pull up the email if you want me to read it.
I wonder if,
Where's the water tower? Is that in TIF 5?
I don't think we have enough money to pay for that.
That's like in the Conservancy too.
Yeah, it's pretty far outside of the tip district. It's really not even in the half-mile buffer. It's like right here, so
Oh,
the
wow.
half-mile buffer ends here, so yeah. I don't think that would work.
Does that mean
Abby,
we go out
is-
to that buffer? Or
I
no?
would have to see if our city attorney would authorize us
Oh.
using it outside of the district. I think he probably would be not very supportive of it, but in some instances, we can.
Cause like the downtown areas. Unless we included the half-mile buffer.
Yeah, not in TIF District 5.
what if we tried doing some interactive installation in the park? Like, remember a long time ago, I sent you all a picture, well, those that you were that were on the committee at that time. I sent a picture of the percussion flowers in Beaver Dam.
Mm-hmm.
And they're big metal flowers and they have different tones and they have attached mallets that you can hit them with and make sound with. What if we tried to do some kind of more interactive installation at Lakeview that would be a little bit more weather and flood resistant?
Mm-hmm. There's also, I don't know if you
Not
guys.
Pheasant Branch, I'm sorry, Lakeview.
Yeah, Lakeview. Have you guys been to the Discovery Center in Milwaukee? There's those like giant shimmery panels. They're really big. And they have interactive art there too. So maybe something larger like that has like has more than one purpose, like maybe it's a wind sculpture or.
Yeah,
Abby, I have two questions for you, if you don't mind. Is it absolutely impossible to move the giant M off
Right
of
there.
and Universe?
So you can like move them. There's like wheels at the bottom and you can like move the way that they're facing.
Can you all see, can you see these panels here?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. So to Katie's question, oh gosh, you're giving me anxiety just talking about that M. Not gonna lie.
It's such a
About the
Take a
M,
couple deep breaths.
it's such a perfect entrance into the city. And could we tell them we'll move it to Lakeview Park?
Is that in the right area? I don't think it's on here, is it?
Well, it is,
there?
it may not be fully. Yeah, I think it might be, it would probably be close enough to TIF District 5, that location.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
So, oh boy. We just went through this very, contentious process we had like a scout group that wanted to rehabilitate the sign, and our former mayor took that on, and the service clubs whose names and logos are on that sign, there was like a lot of back and forth because they all wanted to make their signs a little bit bigger than the rest. And we wanted them all to get refurbished if they were going back up, and we had to dig up like documents from decades ago from how big the signs were allowed to be and why it was the setup that was. And eventually like he just, I think, agreed to put back everything the way that it was, with the exception of the cardinal, which our current mayor repainted because it was like very faded and outdated. So she painted it and put it up so that it looks nice.
But what if it's all looking great and we move it?
move the M sign from Branch or from
Yes,
Branch.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am, because I do believe it's a perfect spot for like you're entering the city. And it needs to be a decent piece of art instead of this scout project, sorry.
Oh, I see. Well, where do you want to move the M to?
I don't know.
You want something more attractive in that location.
I want the high site statue.
Oh, well, then we'll put the 2 for 1 there then.
I know, could we? you know, it's city-owned land.
This is before it got rehabilitated. Cause the post.
Well, how
right-
much land does the city have there?
Do we have up until that
But
little
isn't that,
pony fence?
wouldn't that still be considered a right of way?
Yeah,
So
so it's,
close.
this is a right of way. I think that it's county right of way, but the county is pretty easy to work with.
Okay.
They could probably approve it in a day if we really wanted to do something different.
Oh my gosh.
So it is right of way.
What if we just move the M back into that other space and then put a sculpture
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
Or what if we put
yeah.
a sculpture back there and, although it might be blocked more, I guess.
Yeah, I know that there is a sign right here that has been hit a few times because for people aren't paying attention when they're driving. They're looking at their cell phone and they just keep going in a straight line here, right off the road, and they hit this sign.
Oof.
So it's already had to been redone a couple times, so we probably wouldn't wanna put it right here, but like,
So
What if
So
we put
That
the,
thing is probably super cemented into the ground though. It is not gonna be easy to move.
yeah, well, we could find out how they put it in, cause they just put new posts in. And it's not even been painted yet because it had to weather on site for 1 to 2 years before they could paint it. And our former mayor selected the color that he wanted and everything, but they weren't able to paint it yet. So they wanted their signs back up in the meantime, so they've been installed and then they'll be taken back down and it's supposed to be painted.
Oh, they take it down to paint it?
They have to take the little little pieces off, just the logos, or the emblems. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
could,
could we move that M sign over by the Beltline exit? Over by the fire department? Who owns that? That reseeded prairie space right there? Cause that would still be, it would still be like entering the city, but it would be in a location that would be, that's not being utilized already, or that we could, that's not really as residential.
So unless it's on the fire department property, it's probably gonna be a DOT issue, which I think would be very hard. To
So
get.
that yellow line signifies, right, the yellow line that comes to a point signifies their property.
This is the fire department's property
Yeah.
here.
so the bottom left, is there enough space there just to the edge?
Bottom
Like the bottom left corner, like in there? Tucking
Here?
that, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like I'm right here.
Okay.
This is assuming they want it.
Yeah, well,
Fair
so I had a couple of thoughts I'm sitting on over here. The first is, could we take out, the idea that we had for the roundabout area? Could we just slate that as our 2024 project and work on the DOT proposals? And so basically not abandon that project, just shuffle it down and then, pull up a different idea forward. One of the things that I was kind of wanting to ask about, and it looks like it might be in the right spot, is something along Graper Pond, like the main entrance there, or just anywhere in there, because I think that that's like my neighborhood in Misty Valley, Middleton Ridge, where, we're talking about wanting to build it into more of a destination park. Someday build it up. I mean, make a great spot for an amphitheater. I don't know what logistically, environmentally, if that's even possible, but now that Red Tail Ridge has broken ground and Bell Farms is breaking ground soon, we're going to get a big influx of people. And so that park will, I think, get a lot more visitors.
That's a good idea.
It could start with some of the beautification of the area.
And that's entirely city owned? Or like by the Parks Department, I would assume?
I believe it's a Middleton Park. Yeah, the entrance, there's a trailhead entrance on Spring Hill Road. Or maybe it's not Spring Hill there, it's Graber. Thank you. Couldn't think of the name.
And that's also
So-
to 5.
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Well.
There's like a walking pattern.
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
there's a-
It's TIF District
I'm gonna
5,
go
so we
check it
could
out.
do something there.
Yeah, so, I'm trying to orient it here. There is. Yeah, so there's a path that goes down in here and then there's, or it comes down along here and that's the boardwalk then, and then there's an accessible pier there. So it just might be a good time to think about, putting something there.
The other person for this area is very supportive of public art also.
Lisa,
Yes.
Yeah. for sure.
Lisa had actually previously given me an idea about property that is, I think, just outside of the TIF district, but it's the big, tall.
That putty color thing, yeah,
Did she talk to you about that?
she sure did. I always thought it was water tower, but I don't know what it is. It's like a tank, some kind.
She thought that it would be a really cool mural location because it would be highly visible when you're coming into town. Let's see if I can pull it up. I don't think that particular property is in the TIF district. It's pretty close.
Or you're talking about that thing? Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
that looks
There were a
cool.
few things, yeah.
So we don't know who owns that?
I think I know the business name. I'm just kind of blanking on it right now. Let me see.
Well, do we need to explore some other ideas then? And come
I
back
just
with-
have a quick question about our original spot.
Okay.
Just sort of help me understand option 1 and option 2 with the DOT.
Okay. Option 1 would be that we buy the property from them.
Got it. Okay. And
we
I
would
don't think
not-
that sounded right. Okay.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have to worry about them taking the sculpture out because it would be ours now. So
mean,
we
how-
would be in charge of maintaining it and everything.
Like, would it be like a couple thousand, or would it be like hundreds of thousands of dollars? to buy something like that.
I think it would depend on where they drew the line. Like, I don't think they're gonna jig jag like a little square. That's not usually how engineers like to do it. They're like, oh, if you're doing that, then we need to smooth out the curve. And so it's probably gonna be a larger area. And we are gonna be responsible for maintaining it.
And we probably get flack from,
Well, our
citizens.
public works director did not like that idea. He
Okay.
supported it.
And then so option B was we had to get permission from all these different parties within DOT, yeah?
Yes, and I believe that we have to get permission under either circumstance. So permission is the bare minimum. We have to do it. But under option B, we would just get an occupancy permit.
It's very obviously not.
You'd get an occupancy permit?
Occupancy
Something on
permit,
private
so it's just a permit to
Like, how does
occupy
that
the
work?
right of way. But
Worked
then
on
if
that
they
when
needed
on
it
the Roman candle.
for any other purpose, then they would require us
Yeah.
to take it
It
out, or
was
they
a
would
little
take it
bit
out
more
at their cost,
work,
but they would not
Because we had to get this.
compensate us in any way
That's
or
true.
pay for the cost of the
That's the
install.
building.
Sure. So I guess
There's a really.
depending on
big acceptable
what you
building.
say the hassle is on that, I think we should still keep that one on the table.
Coming from the
Okay.
boardwalk
Yeah,
side, looking
I
back
think
at that.
of the two options, the occupancy permit is better. I am just mostly nervous about it from the timing standpoint. I'm way less concerned that they're gonna tear it out. That I think seems highly unlikely that they're gonna need to get that far out, that they're gonna have to take it out for any reason, but I think that they really take their time. So when they said every department, I'm like, I don't know how many departments there are, but that scares me because they were basically saying like, this is a long process. And even when they say it's a short process, it's a long process. So it's gonna be a really, really long process then.
Right, and that
Thank-
sounds like the answer of someone who's like, don't put me through this, or I
Yeah.
don't wanna put you through that, but I mean,
oh,
it's such a
yeah.
great site, I think we should keep going for it and then just fit it
Yeah.
into our schedule once we have the approval.
Or alternately, that lower position, if indeed we can find something large enough that we can afford if we're gonna have to go down the trail, is, does anyone have any artists who you think would build something super huge that we could actually buy?
Because
What's
we
our budget,
typically-
30 grand?
So it was 30 grand this year, but we will get another 30 grand next year, so we could have 60 grand.
Is that for both, also in TIF 5?
Yes.
Okay, so, I think that, I agree with you, Abby, that it's highly unlikely, especially since they just redid that roundabout not that long ago, that they're gonna be tearing that up. And I think you also made the point that we have the winter months, we're not installing anything right now. So maybe we try going through this process and then, moving forward with this, with the knowledge that this might be next year's project and we might have to shift gears. But I think, I agree that it's a perfect location for a sculpture. And I agree with Katie, I'd like to see us move forward with this spot. But I don't think it is a bad idea to have a backup for the funding that we have for this year. Or again, move it further back and use 2 years funding. We'll be hard pressed to get a big enough sculpture, I think, that you'll be able to see from the street that we can afford in a $30 or $30,000 budget.
Also, I might add that putting something very big down that low, close to that little path, it might not look that great right next to the path there. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm not imagining it correctly, but I think also then it would maybe take that spot out of the running for future projects. And I think, that's, we all pretty well agreed on the spot, so I think if we're okay, comfortable waiting, and then the second thought is, to further mitigate the risk of having to move the piece, we could put that in the RFP that like, hey, consider this in your design. How easy would it be to take apart and move and reassemble? Not a mandatory part of the RFP, but something, a unique constraint to share with the artist.
How big are we hoping it's gonna be? Like, what's the size, target size, or what do we want for that?
12 feet.
I was thinking 10 feet too. I mean, I don't know, does it have to be visible from the road? Was that part of the original stipulation?
I think because of the arts corridor was what was mentioned. That's why we chose that location.
You're right.
And if we're staying true to that, then that's why.
So, this other idea that. I'm just mentioning it again, it's not Jolene's idea. Jolene's idea was more going into Great Bear Pond, which we can go over and look at. This was an idea that was floated by the alderperson for District 6, is to work with National Electrostatics to do something on this piece. It's right outside TIF District 5. I think we could probably do something there if the property owner was supportive, but I don't know how that would work long term. It might get complicated, like when it needs maintenance, who's responsible, and how would we select the design? But this would definitely be like the entryway to Parmenter, the spine of art, and it's also like right across the street from where our mural is. I can't believe the photo is that old that it's not showing. So that's an idea, and then going back to the Great Bear Pond idea, which is in TIF District 5 and would, I think, be a very fairly eligible project. And I agree with all of Jolene's points about that area getting more developed and more use. Did I pass it? I'm sure.
Well, do you think that that's viable for us to like move forward with the DOT process with the knowledge that we may need to have a backup plan and pick one of these other locations for our backup location if it seems that we're not making headway with the DOT?
Sure, I'd say so.
Yeah, that works.
I like the Grabber Pond idea too. I think that, there are lots of options for art in that district, I think, but
Also the the Bell Farm development will, I think, go right up to the north and west side of the part of the pond. And so that will, there will definitely be a lot more traffic through there. And I imagine that the Graber Road will also see an increase in traffic. So people, just going by and coming out of there.
Well, maybe we have that as our backup location, like we start the process with the DOT. And then use that as a backup location. And then move forward with the project as we make progress with the DOT. At the at the original location.
Sounds good to me if it's good with the committee.
It sounds good to me. Yeah, I'm glad we want to stick with that original location if possible, because I feel like the more concentrated we can keep our art, at least to start, I feel like people will want to come down and like be in an area where they can see multiple pieces of art and then have it grow out along the corridor. Maybe I'm wrong.
Although there is kind of an art desert up there. There's not really much up there currently by the pond. But I
Right.
think they're both great locations, but I agree with Katie. I really would like us to stick with, trying to focus on the perimeter corridor because that's something that's in our, actually in our long-term plans. So shall we go with that then? Shall we go ahead with the DOT process, start that, and then start looking also at the second location at Graber Pond, and then we can keep this on the agenda for the next time that we meet.
Okay.
This is just discussion, right, Abby? We are not voting on anything.
You've already voted, and I will just basically formalize everything into a letter and include Terry. I think Art Sommerfeld had suggested that I work with Terry Wheel in their real estate department. So I think I'll just say that the committee met again and this is the location that you want. You prefer the occupancy permit idea, and what are the next steps?
Okay.
And then I'll just be prepared to follow up.
So are we
Okay.
taking Lakeview Park off of the list then? Because originally we had Lakeview as the secondary,
Yes.
but now it's Graber
originally-
Ponds.
Well, originally we were talking about Lakeview Park and I think our Parks and Rec director was like, yeah, I mean, I like the idea, but we already have a lot going on at Lakeview Park, and it seems that each time we've brought some new amenity to the park, our Parks and Recreation and Forestry Commission has said that they would like to see a master plan and how everything's gonna lay out long-term for the park, which they have not done yet. So I was thinking, like, if we brought something else, they're gonna say, okay, we need to do the master plan, because we need to figure out like long-term where all these different things go.
Yeah. So
And
maybe hold
people
off
do
on this
like
one.
having like the big open space, so it's kind of, it's hard to take away from that. And the location we were talking about there was to put the Middleton's letter sign along the path.
Yeah. Sounds like maybe we're next.
Well, let's take Lakeview off the list for now.
Okay.
Because we have probably better suited places. But how many years will we be getting money from this specific district, Abby?
TIF District 5 does not close until 2036, but the end of the expenditure period is 2031.
Okay,
So-
so we've got 8 years yet still to work in this district.
And by then we'll have created a new one. Because we're able to create a new one once we close TIF District 3. So I think we should be okay long-term.
Okay.
For having the funding.
So should the committee meet again sometime between now and the next meeting? Just to talk about like the backup plans or whatever. Do you want to meet?
Sure.
Yeah.
This is just you and I?
Well, who, right, maybe
I
does
can't
it?
remember if somebody else was on it. Oh, maybe
I
Katie.
used to be
Wait,
on
yeah.
it.
Katie, yeah, Katie,
Okay.
was Aaron, no,
We
Did I
haven't
get
met
fired?
so long. I don't even remember.
I don't
Wait,
know.
wait,
how-
am I on this?
Yeah. Like, you're leading.
Okay, set up a subcommittee meeting. I'll write it
Yes.
down.
Does anybody that's new want to pop on that committee?
I think we have to be careful on the amount of people though. We
Yeah.
might only be able to have 3 max.
Right, well,
But
how
I
many,
could-
what's quorum now? How many folks?
So. We have one vacant position, as Elizabeth reminded me last night.
Hmm.
So I think we have 9, and so quorum would be 5.
Okay,
So then you could
Oh,
have
so
3.
anyone else interested?
Is Katie on it too? So there's 3 of
Katie's
you.
on there.
yep, so it's the 3 of us, and I thought there was someone else, but maybe I'm losing.
Maybe it was,
my
I
marbles.
think
it probably
Erin-
was Erin, because she was involved with the Middleton.
That's right.
Yeah, it's Erin.
Was Erin, yeah, because
Yeah.
remember we were talking about her dream sculpture, the
Oh,
fairy.
yes, the fairies.
Yeah.
Yes.
We gotta add
That's why I
that.
was thinking about the fairies. Okay.
Okay. I think we could probably move on then.
Sebastian?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Um,
Do you have the capacity for a subcommittee?
maybe on Zoom,
Yeah,
but,
that's how we do it, right?
Yeah, we
Mhm.
have.
and the goal is just to iron out where the sculpture's for sure going and what's going in the RFP.
To have deeper discussions, yes.
Yeah, sure.
On the particular.
I do post RFPs for my job all the time,
like you-
like work. Sure, I draft them, I repost them,
That-
so sure.
I put it down, yeah.
Yep, sweet.
Could you?
So then you're saying, yes, you want to be on that subcommittee?
Yes, I guess I am, yeah. Okay.
As a break from your work, I mean, wait,
I might be able to do it on work hours, which would be great. I can say like, this is important art business, and then like get like an hour or 2 off just to like do it, so.
I think we were doing it around lunchtime,
Yeah.
like 1,
Yeah.
11 or 1.
Weekday, daytime,
Yeah.
sounds great to me.
I just usually send out a poll and then people vote on what we're.
Sure, yeah, I also work remote Monday and Friday too, so I'm super flexible those days.
Okay,
Nice.
Next week is our conference, which has been another insane thing, so I'm gonna be out like most of all next week, but most other weeks I should be good.
okay,
Great.
thank you.
All right, shall we move on then to our maintenance item? Our next thing on the agenda?
Yeah, so I, sort of expressed my frustration to Meg and Michelle via email about not getting a response from Donna. Cause I've emailed multiple times my contact there, and then, of course, as soon as I made the complaint, I got my response. From a new person at Donna who had said that she had sent me an email on May 16th, but I did not receive the email, and I like searched her name and everything, it didn't come up. So I don't know, maybe she missed a T in my last name or something like that, but she is the new director of mural production at Donna. And she did go to the site and she looked at the bubbling, and she kind of separated the problem into 2 different things. One, small bubbles, which are called blizzards.
Mhm.
She did not have a explanation for why this happened, but said that it has to do with the heat of the sun affecting the clear coat. She said that it does not happen in all places, and that makes her theory unclear. And then the other problem was large bubbles with water, and this one was very confusing. She said that problem is bubbles are made by moisture from the salt seeping through the walls, making the moisture turn to water and accumulate between the wall material, creating a large pocket. She also said she attached condition of the mural, but the photos were not attached. Because I think she thought that I had maybe already received this email, which I did not. So I don't have the photos. I immediately responded and had a couple of follow-up questions, and I haven't heard back.
So we're paying the 1480?
Yeah, that's what she's saying. which was not the direction that I had previously gotten from Veronica, their director, who said this first one is on us. And then I replied back and said, what about the scaffolding? And she said, yes, we'll cover the scaffolding too, which I was a little surprised by because we paid for the scaffolding the first time. It was very expensive and the only company we could find to do it was out of Illinois. So that was my question that I immediately wrote back to Mayella is, would you cover the cost also of the scaffolding? And she has not responded to that. She also did note that this is not going to solve the problem long term, at least for sure for the here's the one where she says every year. She said every year we will have the same problem.
So we didn't bring this up to Megan, did we, Mackie?
No, I haven't talked to Megan about it.
I wonder if we should run it by her and see if she has any suggestions.
That's
I feel like we need a conservationist on the committee again.
yeah,
We're really lacking. Anyone know a conservationist? I told my kids that they need to go to school for art restoration. I was
yes,
like, apparently there's not enough of them.
there's a shortage, and it would be
No
such a
kidding.
Yes, but if this keeps happening every year, it's like. I don't know, I think we need a longer term solution.
yeah.
What's, this is it on, what was like, is it on wood or?
It's
something
just
like-
a concrete.
A concrete,
foundation wall.
okay.
But the artwork is actually on like a canvas material.
Yes,
It's
on-
like it's like wood panels wrapped in canvas that have been.
That's like on the concrete.
Yeah,
It's like parachute material.
it's plastic, not cotton.
They called it polytab. I don't know what
It's poly, it's plastic. So,
Well, so is there any kind of, for the large bubbling, if that's caused by leaching from the salt, is there any way that we can put a barrier behind the mural to prevent that from happening every year? And is there any coating that we can put on it that will be better to prevent the blizzard bubbles? These are all questions.
that sounds expensive, but yeah, we could look into it. I'm gonna email the pictures to Megan and see what she says.
Yeah,
Do you wanna wait for me to get Myella's pictures, or do you have those pictures you took?
Yeah, I
Okay,
took
that's-
some when I was out there.
Okay,
I'm sure they're fine enough for her to
okay.
maybe make a recommendation for us or like point us in the direction of who we could contact.
do we want to share the email also with Meg about what she thinks the causing of the bubbling is?
I can just get it from the packet. I'll just copy it.
All right, so,
So we have no means of moving forward on this.
no, we
Waiting,
have
yeah.
more questions.
I mean, we could cover 1480, that is not an issue, but it's more like, we don't know if. I think it would be an issue if we had to pay for the scaffolding again, so I think that was like a few $1,000s, wasn't it?
Mhm.
I mean, I wanna say it was like $600 or something just for scaffolding and have it installed.
Do you know what our budget's looking like right now?
Well, we fully spent our operating budget, but that's because what we've been doing in previous years is all the money that we're spending, including for Art Walk, we take it out of our operating budget first because that goes away at the end of the year. But then that enables us to potentially hold on to some of that non-lapsing fund. But we probably have, I would think, at least 10,000 in our. So.
Okay.
We should.
I'm most concerned about the long-term problem that this is gonna cause and finding a solution for that. Well, all right, so then let's just push this to the next agenda as well and do some more fact finding. If everybody thinks that's what we should do.
Sure.
One of the thoughts too, it would be to investigate like, well, how long has it been going on like this? And so maybe it doesn't have to be done annually if it's something where we can justify it. $1,500 every 3 years isn't an unreasonable maintenance cost. But
Well, it's only been up we did a fundraiser for the second installation in 2020, like right at like April or May,
Okay,
no,
so
this
this
is
is-
summer of 2020. It's only been up for 3 years, one of the segments. So yeah, I mean, but how much is it gonna cost every time we do it? And Dama is not gonna help with the cost the next time we have to do this.
Right. Is there another organization, entity or company that does this sort of like that does service work on
Well, Dama is,
this kind of
so
material?
Dama, we worked with Dama on this project, and so the materials and so forth were at the recommendation of Dama. And Dama is a nonprofit, so I don't know, like, they're offering to do it, the maintenance on it this one time, but yes, I would say well, probably next time we would have to figure out some other means. They're not gonna pay for it the next time. They're not gonna do it for free next time.
It doesn't sound like they're willing to do it for free this time.
Well, that was
Anymore.
yeah, no, I guess they're not, but that was the original, wasn't that the original thing that Veronica said, Abby, was that they would?
Monica said that they would cover the first one on them and pay for the scaffolding.
But now they want 1480 for the repair work, but they'll still pay for the scaffolding.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. 'Cause
Oh, we
she
don't
hasn't
know about the
responded. I
scaffolding.
wrote her back right away and she didn't.
Right.
She did not respond.
Okay.
Okay, well, so then should we just then revisit this and get some more information in the meantime? And again, I agree with Meg about contacting Megan and seeing getting her 2 cents.
I almost wonder if there's like there's gotta be students on campus. I wonder if this would be like maybe a good student learning opportunity. A hands-on project.
As long as
Okay,
they're
get in
all
touch with
willing
the
to sign
professor.
liability waivers.
Oh, yeah, take it up on the scaffolding.
Yeah.
That still doesn't help the scaffolding cost
Sounds
problem.
dangerous, putting students on a scaffold.
There's another thing you have to tell your kids to do. To open up a scaffolding business.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, okay. So is there any other maintenance? Like, we don't have any other maintenance issues, right?
Yeah, I think that's it for now, unless anybody's noticed anything else.
I have not walked by Middleton Station.
Does anybody want to be in charge of walking by the piece on Middleton, in front of Middleton Station Apartments and inspecting it, make sure that you don't notice anything there?
I'll do it, but I'll have to look up the details.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sure.
It's just next to Capitol Brewery.
Oh,
And Michelle checked out Self-Made Man, right? So that's all good.
Julia did.
Julia
Oh,
did
Julia
it.
did, okay.
Middleton Station. All right.
All right. Well, then let's move on to Art Walk. Art Walk, I have had my feelers out. I'm working on getting food trucks and musicians lined up so that we have that put in place. Meg has graciously offered to work on the graphic design stuff again this year, which I really appreciate because it does take time, and I'm very happy to have Meg back working on the graphic design stuff. So we are getting that rolling, and we probably need to set up a meeting for Art Walk planning. And I think Jolene, you're on that subcommittee, and then Erin has also agreed to continue on that committee.
Great.
So we should probably get together for a meeting for that pretty soon.
I'm happy to be on that subcommittee too, if you need more people.
Katie, I would love you to be on that subcommittee with us.
Okay.
And wasn't I trying to rope Jessica into this too a couple months ago?
Yes, and I agreed. I still agree.
Okay, good. So we have Katie and Jessica and Jolene and Erin and myself. That's way more people than we normally have on this subcommittee.
That's awesome.
All right, well then I will, how about if I send out some dates to everyone and then we can figure out when we can all get together and talk about that.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Special events. Jolene, what do you have for us?
Hi, yes. So I have been working with Melissa Brum or Blum. She's the events coordinator for the Stonehorse Green, and she has been wanting to put together an open mic night. Just get it started small, couple nights. I think in October, we were gonna try to do late September, but she's got to get like the outdoor amplified sound permit and so forth. But how this pertains to the Arts Committee is, I am asking you all if we could sponsor, some of the costs would just be instrument rental, maybe some sound equipment, you know, couple $100, maybe for the like series or for the whole or each event. I'm not entirely sure what the costs are going to look like, but we could, you know, put it out there as sponsored by Middleton Arts Committee. And that would be a performing art opportunity for citizens. So
We need to vote on this budget for this tonight, Jolene, or will we have another meeting prior to the first one?
we won't have another meeting prior to the first one, probably because we're going to try to get it out there in the next couple of weeks. So I guess if we could word it in such a way that the Arts Committee would be willing to sponsor a certain amount and then the amount to be filled in later, not to exceed us, you know, whatever you all feel comfortable with.
So you would be asking for maximum of $400 then, or?
Sure, that seems reasonable.
Okay.
I don't, yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
I would support that.
Sure.
We have the money.
Okay.
Abby.
It'd come out of the non-lapsing.
Does someone want to make a motion?
I guess I will, right?
I'll second that motion.
Oh, so I move to vote on sponsoring open mic nights. Maximum amount for the, I guess, the fall events, $400.
And the motion.
And did we have someone who wanted a second?
Yes.
Winters.
Elizabeth, yeah.
I can't see you all in the in-person folk. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
And then Jolene, do you need signage made for that as well?
I think that Melissa's taking care of it, but I should get the assets.
Okay,
Or by,
all right, sounds
because
good.
our primary advertising will be social media.
Mhm.
And then just, if we have any signage we want to use, on the night of, I'm happy to
Okay.
put something out.
You
but-
just need the Arts Committee logo.
Okay,
That's all you need.
I think
I
so,
can
yeah.
send it to you if you don't
I
have it
probably
already.
still have it, but I would take it again.
Okay.
However, if we want to put any art walk for like 2024 for call for artists.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a good idea.
And
Gotta work on something.
We already have 2 applications for next year.
yeah, well, that's
Oh, really?
amazing.
The application's already up?
Yeah. 2
And
people.
that's so cool. And along the lines of special events, I know we have a database for artists, but I was wanting to do something similar for musicians and other performers, and wondering if that is something we can house on the city website or how I would go about making that happen.
To do what?
To make to have a database that would targeted for performing artists, musicians, dance, what have you, because I know we have one for
Rather than
Sure.
just hiring people?
Just yeah, I get what you're
Just
saying.
like a database.
Database so they'd be pulled separate from visual artists.
Right.
Because they would be interested in different.
people to broadcast events to,
Events.
people to be on the list to ask for performers. For when we need to
Although I
hire.
wonder in the database, can we just sort it? So anyone could join it and then we could sort
Yeah, if that's
based
possible
on.
too.
I'm gonna look and see if those are options.
Okay,
I know we did get a ballet studio who filled it out. Let me see. Oops. No. Yeah, it might just be a matter of keeping it AIM, artists in Middleton, but broadening the categories.
Mhm.
yeah, if we could do that, I think that would be. I think it would be great, but of course, need agreement and buy-in from y'all too as well.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Also, have we, I'm sorry, this is off track here, but have we got something together for call for artists for the promotional artwork?
Yes, that is on the website.
Okay, have we shared that on Facebook and stuff yet? I haven't seen anything.
I can share it again. I think it was just initially, but that's going back a
I
while.
remember seeing something and I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, because right now we just have the art walk application form. I don't even see the call for artists on here anymore.
Okay, yeah, we need to get that going because we can use Aaron's image in the interim, but we need to get our new artwork in place for 2024.
Okay.
So that's what you guys did last time, you just did a call for art?
We did a call for artists, for the artwork for the promotional materials. And then they got free, a free booth space at the art walk. For their, letting us use their image. So, yes.
How's the final image selected? Just by the subcommittee?
Yeah, the subcommittee picked it last year. Yep. Well, do we want to change that? I mean,
No, but it might be helpful, I mean, I'm not on the subcommittee, but maybe if I can just see, I don't know if you have specs on there on like dimensions and stuff, but certain things might not work in different formats, so
I'll keep you in
I
mind.
might, yeah,
with the
I might need
graphic.
to just like check.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you want? You want square? You want vertical? You want horizontal?
I think most of the material is vertical.
Okay. All right. We'll keep that in mind when we're choosing. How it will print.
Yes, high quality images only, no low
That's
res
right.
stuff.
Don't need any of that pixelated nonsense.
Yes.
For 10 by 10.
All right. So then, did you have anything else to add then to special events, Jolene, or was that just the only item you had?
That's it. And when I get the final dates, of course, I'll share it out with the committee.
Cool.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. All right. So we'll move on to youth center. All of those are booked. They start next Thursday. We have had a date switch. We are no longer first Wednesday. We are now first Thursday of the month. I don't know if I shared the list with all of you. But I think I did. I shared it with Gabrielle. I think maybe Abby. I can't remember. Maybe it was Meg. But anyway, at any rate, we have quite a range of different things. Artworking is coming, and they're doing a screen print project. Kids will do t-shirts. They'll design their screen. They'll do their design the first week. They'll go and cut it, and they'll bring it back with their press and make the t-shirts on the second session. Julia is doing a 2-part drawing class. Meg is doing create your own zine. We have a felter who is coming and doing wool felting. She's our first one. We have a photographer, and then we have an acrylic artist who's doing mini canvas. I think that's everybody.
I think that we're all at the art fair, so that's pretty great. At least Renee and Shakira were.
Yep, they were. Yes, you're right. And Matt.
Yeah, that's
Matt
awesome. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, they were all showing at Art Walk. And you know, when I was going around to their booths, I was asking them, so do you ever do anything with middle school age students? Are you interested in doing a project? And so I did make some connections at Art Walk with some folks. So we're excited to get that started. Gabrielle is excited that we're doing it again this year, and hopefully we'll get a little bit bigger turnout this year. We usually get 10 to 12 kids per session, which is actually really pretty manageable for 2 people. And that's usually there's usually an artist and then the para. So anyway, that will begin next week. And that's all I've
You
got.
need volunteers for that, or is it pretty self-contained?
We may need volunteers for some. Basically what I do is I send out a reminder email a couple weeks before their session is coming up, and then I ask them if they need any additional help.
Right.
And so I'll know, closer to the dates as they come up, whether or not they'll need a volunteer.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, pop-up art. Do we have any?
I had an email pulled up from Erin. There are 2 more events happening this year. One is the Halloween and one is the
Candy cane hunt.
thank you.
Christmas, yeah.
And I think that she did need more people
I can help with both.
with both.
Mhm.
Okay,
My kids are going to both already. We've already registered.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I
Alright.
enjoyed that. I did 2 of them in August. It was so much fun. I saw a lot of the kids I substitute teach there. It was really fun. Yeah,
Yes.
so I'll do
Oh,
it, yeah.
cool. Did you tell Erin that you'd be able to go?
I have not yet.
Okay, I'll tell her.
Okay.
And then she had asked how much she had left in the budget, and there was still $210.87. But she said that she still had a couple of receipts to turn in for Halloween, but she thought that she'd be good for the year. So
Okay, good.
that's going well.
Awesome. Okay, how about the Metro Bus Shelter project? Is that also going well?
We've been working on it a lot lately. Some of the concrete pads are poured.
Hmm.
I was just over at University in Cayuga where we're pouring a new one earlier today. That one's not there yet. The shelters are not here yet. They're probably still a month out. Fabrication and delivery. And then we have a private contractor, B&E Construction, who I've been working with to get all the information that they need to put the shelters in the right spots, which apparently is a lot more complicated than I originally thought. You have to factor in where the opening is and how the wind's gonna blow and trying to like shelter people and make sure that they're comfortable. So I've been dealing with left-hand openings and right-hand openings. But fingers crossed we can still get it done this year. That's my goal. So
What happens if we don't?
well, if we don't, then we would just have to wait until spring because it has to be warmer weather to install them.
Would we still get the funding then? Because we had already carried it over or?
We would have to carry it over again, but
Oh, they'll let us,
I
okay.
think that they would let us. I really want to get it in this year though.
Mhm.
The other issue that I noticed as I was walking by the other day is for the older shelters that we're covering, like the one on Branch Street that's like near Pheasant Run Apartments and the new Broad Branch building. I don't see how we would be able to get them out there to do that unless we can like power wash it immediately prior to them installing it and allow it to have time to dry, because there's graffiti, there are cobwebs all over the place. The new ones, if they can come and install like right after they're put in, they're probably okay, but I'm just not sure how to handle that because we don't really have a water source out there. So I don't know, maybe I can get I just had a really fun idea. Maybe the fire department would take one of the trucks out there and like close it off. Sorry, this is like, we gotta get scrappy sometimes.
Yeah. Be a good sort of one-off volunteer event for community members or maybe even high schoolers trying to get some community service in.
Love that idea. I just don't know how we get water out there. That's what I'm confused by. Unless we can like tap one of the hydrants or like a nearby business would be willing to stretch a hose or something.
Doesn't Bruce Company have like that portable water truck that they go around and water the plants with?
They do, yeah.
Maybe you could work something out with them.
They still have if the construction company over at Red Tail still has theirs out, it's just sitting there in the evenings, you know, if they aren't using it, they'd be willing to loan it out for an afternoon or an evening. I don't know, some goodwill.
Okay, I'll check with them and see about that idea too.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So
I
that's,
think,
the shelters are still in a holding pattern then?
yes, but fingers crossed. Everybody keep your fingers crossed. We can still get it done. I'd really
We
like. to-
are pulling for you, Abby.
What's the
Thank you.
temperature requirement, like 50 degrees or
Did he say?
just out of curiosity?
I guess. I
Shall-
think it was like right around 50. Which is still doable with some pre-planning. Like if we had him for, a 2-week period,
Yeah.
we could kind of target whatever the warmest date is. I don't see that immediately popping up
Oh.
for me. But I want to say, I think you're right, it's right around 50. Yeah. So we'll see.
Well,
Will it into being?
hopefully
And-
the stars line up for you.
Yes, and we have an amazing intern right now too, which has been really helpful. She has a master's in planning and she's a transit enthusiast and is very excited about the art project. So she's helping out with all the shelter stuff right now. So hopefully we can get it done before she leaves us.
Awesome. I am very looking forward to seeing them come to fruition.
Yep.
All right, anything else on the shelters?
Nope.
Well, then let's move to funding. How is donor box coming? Have we got that up and running yet?
It is not. I'm sorry.
What's the holdup? What do we have left to do?
It's just a matter of getting on and setting it up and then linking it on our site.
Is that something your intern could do or
I can check with her. Yeah, that's a good idea.
or someone
Sure.
else?
Can you remind me how much is that a year?
We don't pay a fee.
Oh, okay.
So there's no upfront cost, but I believe they take
Oh, like a percentage.
a small percentage. I want to
Mhm.
say maybe like 1%.
Okay.
Mhm, I thought it
Erin
was
had done
less,
quite a bit of research and it was the best. It was the best choice.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think it was even less than 1%, maybe, if I remember correctly. But, all right, well, then if we could work on that, maybe we could have donor box up and running before some of these events, and we could include that on some of our signage, donate to the arts
Oh, yeah.
committee.
That's a good idea. QR code.
Yeah, yep.
I'm sorry, our department is updating our comprehensive plan and overhauling our zoning ordinance, sign ordinance, extraterritorial ordinance, lighting ordinance, all the big things right now at the same time. So I will try to get it prioritized for you. I know it's been on the list for a long time and I appreciate all the work that Erin especially did to figure out the best choice.
Yes, and that can be one more thing we can scratch off of our list as having completed.
Yep.
All right, anything else that anyone has to add before we wind this up? No? We have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, so moved. This is Katie.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, everyone, thanks for your time and your input, and we will see you next month, and I will get in contact to set up a meeting for Art Walk.
Great, thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.